All right, Infernal Blessings, back with another video. Before I begin, just a couple quick announcements as usual. If you want to reach out, information on how to sign up for the different classes that I offer, get that email constantly. How do I sign up for your classes? What kind of classes you offer? Well, you can see everything at the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page at patreon.com. /Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3 is the way you want to go. That gives you access to the 3 monthly classes that I do on Patreon every month for Patreon members only. And it also gives you access to the monthly ritual we do every month as a group, which, speaking of that, at the recording of this video, we will be doing tonight. The ritual of the Dicker Circle, or the ritual Dicker Circle of the Order of the Black Assassins. We will be connecting in that ritual with the Jinn, Shaitan, and those aspects of the adversarial current. But again, that's the best way to see all the various ongoing series. We cover every topic on there. I got ongoing series on Luciferian magic and self-mastery, Klepothic sorcery, Sith classes, ancient Egyptian vampiric classes, Kundalini meditation and awakening, ongoing series, shadow work classes, knee deep. We're about to go into number 18 or 19, wherever we at with that, and more. Just if you're looking for a real detailed occult curriculum and you want to really learn about the occult and left-hand path, that's the way to go. Patreon.com /Baniti, Baniti. And we have a Klepothic sorcery class of the recording date of this video tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is the 26th of August, today being the 25th. All right, so that's how you can connect and sign up for the classes. Also, if you are interested in a spiritual consultation or a spiritual reading, the various different readings I offer are Klepothic demonic readings, ancient Egyptian oracle readings, Santa Muerte readings, shadow work readings, which, as I've said many times before, is a great place to start if you're looking for a sense of purpose, a sense of direction. Great place to start. Not when I say it to point you in the right direction, it's always good to do a shadow reading to uncover the hidden self, to see what's going on in your life. But if you want a sense of direction as far as what kind of ritual work you should be doing, etc., to really see what's going on around you, that's the way to go. For a full list of readings and information on consultations, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you that information. Contact information is in the description box of this video, and also the link to the Patreon page, the official Primordial Patreon page, Chaos page, is in the description box of this video. Also the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adam Conference is in full effect. You can sign up and register now. You can attend live and in person, which is a 4-day event. Meet and greet on Thursday, classes and workshops on Friday and Saturday from 9 to 4, and presentations Friday and Saturday. We have ritual work as a group, followed by some socializing, a family/group dinner, listening to some music, hanging out, kicking it. And then Sunday noon to 4, I'll be doing a question and answer class to close out the event. That's October 19th to the 22nd. So you can sign up to attend in person, or you can attend virtually, which gives you access to the 3 days of classes and workshops and presentations on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will get you that information. Also, keep in mind, all of this new content is being uploaded to the Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast is also in the description box of this video. Okay, along with my contact information, the email address. So anything you need, if you forgot, is in the description box of the video. All right, having said that, running a little behind today, but we're going to get in a couple vids, post a couple things on the podcast, Try to stay as consistent as I can, because sometimes when the weekend comes, tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, may not have as much time to post. So I'll try to stay consistent during the week, and if I can squeeze one in here and there over the weekend, I'll try. All right, I want to talk about one aspect of magic is reprogramming the subconscious mind. Okay, as I've said many times before, so this will be again, one of these short 20 to 30 minute videos focusing on just that. All right. As I've said many times before, programming can be a positive or a negative thing on a personal level. It can be, very reconstructive or deconstructive, right? The programming concept can either hurt or hinder your growth, depending on how it's used. Now, reprogramming, which we'll talk about in a minute or in a few minutes, but let's establish first from a very early young age how we are programmed. Okay, it starts at a very early age. What affects that programming? Let's talk about some of the key components that affect our systematic programming. That starts as a small child, right? When we become of age or aware, as they say in child psychology, and a lot of psychologists will say, at the age of 7 is when you really start to develop your imagination, is when you really start to formulate your own, to a degree, your own ideas. And this is an age from that point where somebody can be severely influenced, good or bad. This is why they say a child maintains their innocence until we adults come along. And not only are they dealing with the systematic programming that they were birthed into, but then we enhance it even more with our personal ideologies, which sometimes can be damaging or deconstructive. Upbringing can affect that. People raised in different ethnicities sometimes have a very strong, I don't know if discipline's the right word, but with a lot of restriction. It could be a heavy religious influence over it. So religious and cultural upbringing, programming on a wide scale level, some more than others, right? Sometimes not having any real guidance there altogether, because then there's some people say, I wasn't really raised in neither or, a strict cultural upbringing or a strict religious upbringing. We do have some people that fall into that category, but you're still exposed to it because you live in a society here in the Western Hemisphere in the United States of America where you're around it all the time. You're exposed to it to a certain level of degree, and you live in a society that's constructed around it, right? So there's aspects of it there subconsciously. So it's different levels, different aspects of the way it affects people, right? So once you make the intent, as I said many times, to come on this path, one of your goals is to reprogram your subconscious mind. And it starts first and foremost by getting rid of, totally not even dealing with, completely rejecting and tossing aside all your old faith, belief, religious dogmas, religious systems that deal with programming and indoctrination. So I'm going to use some examples. A lot of people, obviously here in the Western Hemisphere, grew up being influenced, and we'll say, by Christianity, right? Very prominent, very normal, very common for a lot of people born and raised here in America to come up in Christian households, that Christian upbringing. When you come on this path, you have to shed all the false mythological gods that you've embraced and accepted as a reality, as far as when you look into it and you see, basically using common sense, which again, as I said, not everybody has, reasoning and doing your research, you first dispatch, you analyze everything they used to believe in and put it into perspective. My mother enforced it a little bit more. My mother was a great woman. She made us go to church on Sunday. She had a strong belief in it. So the best way I can describe it, she was firm in it, but wasn't fanatical and forced it on us 7 days a week, but she was consistent on a weekly basis with it. We observed all the Catholic holidays, the whole nine. So I got some of my discipline from my mother. See, this is how you reprogram. So I don't look at what we were kind of forced into doing, but I look at how my mother's methodology, how she was consistent at what she did. I get my consistency using her practice, and I can take that and apply it today. So I had to go back and look at when I really was on this path hardcore. I went back in depth into the faith that I was raised in, Catholicism. I went and got, I think it was like 2000, maybe 2001. I went and got the full catechism of the Catholic Church. And I would look at the catechism of the Catholic Church, how the Muslims have their hadith, their tales of the hadith, which is a book of their traditions, really, which has nothing to do with the Quran. And there's stuff in there that really, it goes contradictory to the Quran. Well, the Catholics have like their hadith or their Talmud, like the Jews have, and it's called the Catechism of the Catholic Church, which is basically a whole book on the rules, the regulations of the church, the do's and don'ts, the traditions of the church that are upkept. And not all of it really is connected biblical, because a lot of it is Catholic tradition drawing from that. So I went back in depth and looked at the Bible, looked at the scriptures, looked at how they use them in the Catholic Church. I looked at the order and the origin of the Mass, all these things. And I read the catechism front to back. And as I started to really read it and study, I said, man, some of this shit is ridiculous. So this is how you do the deprogramming first. And I'm using my model, my example, what I was raised in, right? You could do this and apply it to any other model, whether you applying it just to an upbringing with minimal religious indoctrination, maybe it's more cultural. You just apply the model that works for you. So as I reevaluated all these things and put them into perspective, some of it I saw was completely stupid. Now, there was some stuff you could see spiritually and ritualistically they grabbed from other spiritual systems that predate Christianity and Catholicism, no doubt. So I was able to cipher through the Catholic doctrine after doing a really thorough study and real research on it, because I needed to move past this, get this laid out, and put it into context and perspective in my mind and move forward. Now, there was some things to this day I still can pull from the Catholic Church ritualistically. I looked at the Mass. After studying vampiric magic for a while, I said, man, the Catholic Mass is almost like a vampiric Mass. They're using the concept of transubstantiation, which they're trying to tell you that the bread is actually the body of Christ and the wine is actually the blood of Christ, and then they want you to partake in the body and blood and ingest it. That's very vampiric in nature. So this is another way how you reprogram your subconscious mind, because now you're going back and evaluating all these different things you were taught and studied, or beliefs that were forced upon you because it was your tradition, your upbringing, it was in your family. A lot of people who have lineages of belonging to a specific religious dogma or practice, it's usually passed down from generation to generation. So when you're doing things like I'm describing, you are deconstructing. I looked at the Mass, I deconstructed it, and then I said, let me now break this down based on the knowledge I have, really the correct way to perceive it. So now I perceive it the correct way, I put it into context. That's where the reprogramming now starts or comes in, right? So you must shed, and I've been hard on this probably since 17, early 18. It really came clear to me in my work, and it was clear, a message to just put out there for others to look into further. You really got to shed your old paradigms, your old ways, and separate from it if you truly want to be liberated on this path. If you really want to take that next jump or leap in your DNA or your spiritual growth, you're never going to really get that until you really not just say it, but you have really shed and released all those old ways that are holding you down. Trust me when I tell you this. This is a lesson sometimes people learn in a very difficult or hard way, because what I tend to see happen is there are people who go through extended periods of time, they struggle with releasing old ways, old methodologies. I see people come on this path so many times off and on over the years, and it's always, they're gung-ho, I'm ready to do this, oh man, the left-hand path in the occult is so amazing. It's like a new relationship. Everything is great in the beginning when it's new, but it's like when you're in a relationship, when it comes down to now working together, living together, finances, it changes a bit. Well, this path is the same way. Once the honeymoon is over and you realize this shit has worked, this is when you see who could really cut it and who can't. And I see a lot of people, they'll come on this path, and this always happens to newer people in that first year, somewhere within that first year of their journey. They're gonna be presented with that defining moment that could make or break them. And I've said this many times in the past, where there's always this defining moment in the first year of their journey where a lot of the stuff they used to do is going to be tempting to maybe take a step back, either get sucked back into or continue making, that journey moving forward. And I see this a lot, okay? This is why you must be clear and have an understanding within yourself that one of your goals should be to shed all those old ways, those old belief systems. If you were a Christian, you're going to have to learn to just draw from it, because there's some morals in all spiritual paths, not morals, incorrect word. There's some concepts and ideologies in all spiritual paths that can be utilized across the board. So you got to learn to just take those things, and the rest you got to toss aside. Okay? And I show people, when it comes to, say, the Bible and the Quran and the esoterical occult Bible study class, this really helps in alleviating that spell of indoctrination that's been placed on your mind by really understanding the scriptures and the esoterical occult perspective. Okay? So, as I was saying a little earlier, the problem I see in some people's approach, they still approach this path, they still approach working with deity, spirit, or demon in a very religious, monotheistic approach, right? And this can be problematic because, I got to be clear on this, and I've said this before, we don't pray and grovel before these spirits, begging them, whether it's for salvation, whether it's to do a favor for us, whether it's to just constantly ask, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. That's a religious motif and mindset, right? You have to understand, when you're walking on this path, as I've said many times before, you walk side by side with the deity or the spirit or the demon. You walk side by side with them with a certain level of intelligence. And be careful when you're working with some volatile spirits, some darker spirits, darker energies, klepothic deities, things of that nature. If you approach them with an inferior mindset, they will manipulate you. They will see that you are not weak, you are not strong, you are weak, and you can be manipulated. And that's a monotheistic religious mind approach. When you're approaching spirit or deity on this path with an inferior complex. So step one in breaking those illusions and systems of indoctrination is, you always have to say to yourself, I am the god or goddess. I am at the root center of all this. All this evolves around me, and I am in control. Right? You're the one that's doing the building and destroying now, not something outside of you anymore. You're not. And sometimes people profess it with the tongue, but subconsciously, they still are embracing an ideology that there's something outside of them controlling all this. So the first realization you must stamp in your subconscious mind is, I am in control. I am the cause and effect of everything that is happening around me. I am the sole chief reason why things may be manifesting and I might be getting results, and why things aren't. Why? Because it's the way I think. And if we understand that first principle. All is mental. Mental is all. The universe is mental. Your thoughts are forming your universe. No matter how, if you label those thoughts positive, negative, destructive, toxic, you are the one, through your thoughts, through the power of your mind, creating this, deconstructing and reconstructing, regardless of how you perceive it. Your thoughts is what's manifesting this. Right? Now, it's the same way they use that concept to program you through religion. So if they could stamp in your mind these thoughts of being obedient, they stamp their ahead, because if they can now get in your thoughts, and now they can affect the way you've now embraced it. Heaven and hell and fear and God and the devil was stamped in you to keep you open. They created a place, an intermediary place between heaven and hell called purgatory, like a waiting place and shit. So they extended the torture and they extended the fear and created a whole nother level of it. Okay? When you embrace these ideologies, they become a reality to you. And this is why some people who are so religiously far gone, you can't hold an intelligent conversation with them, because if they challenge or question anything outside of the box or spectrum of what they were taught, they're afraid to. It's blasphemous. You can't do that. You shouldn't ask questions. If the priest or the pastor or the imam says this, you're supposed to do what you're told. But yet, seek. If you ask, seek, you will get answers to your questions. Seeking, ye shall find. Right? So when they sit there and you have maybe some questions or concerns, and some people will shoot it down. No, you're never supposed to question God. You're never supposed to question the Bible. You're not supposed to question the priest or the pastor. It's not what the Bible says, though. It says test that spirit to see if that spirit is of God. That's what the Bible says. So when the Bible's saying test that spirit, ask, seek, knock, and ye shall find, and get the answers. The Bible's telling you to do the complete opposite. But as soon as you come with something that's in opposition to what they're teaching, they want to shut you down. No, you can't ask that. Don't question. How dare you? How dare you question and ask that? No way. Okay? We've got to get out of that system of programming. Okay? Now, I got more I want to say on this, but I'm getting to my destination. A little pressed for time. So I think I am going to do a part 2 on this. I'm not finished with this. I got some more I want to expound on. I want to get into repetition and the reprogramming part. So this will be part 1, but I'm going to do a part 2 on this. All right. Again, if you need to reach out to me, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. If you want to book a reading, a consultation, if you need information on the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, shoot me an email, which is khnum19@gmail.com, which is in the description box of the video. Also, if you need information on the Journey of the Black Adept Conference, again, if you want to sign up, take the classes that I do offer, you want to go to patreon.com/Baniti, BANITI, and join Tier 3. Tier 3 is the way you want to go. Tier 3 will give you access to all the 3 private classes that I do on Patreon every month. That'll give you access to all 3 of them, plus the group ritual that we do at the end of the month as a group, a family, whatever you want to refer to it as. That will give you access to all the classes, which is 3, and the group ritual. All right. So if you need information on any of those things, emails in the description box of the video. And remember, all this content is being uploaded to the Primordial Chaos podcast page, which is on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. And the direct link to that podcast is in the description box of this video. All right, that is going to do it for this. I'm Going to do a part 2 to this because, again, there's more I want to elaborate on this that I did not get to. I will get to in part 2. We'll talk soon. Infernal blessings.